Did you know there's a Bible verse so powerful many preachers avoid it? Philippians 4:8 contains an ancient formula for divine manifestation, far beyond just asking and receiving. This verse is a programming code for your mind. When you truly understand whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, your reality can shift in mere days. But before I reveal how to use this verse, a vital warning: apply it incorrectly, and you might manifest the very opposite of your desires. In these next few minutes, I'll show you the precise method, discovered through Emmet Fox's teachings, that is already transforming hundreds of lives. If you're watching this, it's not by chance. Stay until the end, because I'll reveal the most crucial detail about this verse no one has ever told you. The truth is, something profound is hidden in Philippians 4:8. Something most people read, but don't truly see. This is why many pray, ask, believe, yet witness no change. It's not God withholding answers, nor the law of attraction failing. It's a spiritual key, a connection point between thought and the divine that few truly comprehend. How many times have you wondered why some people seem to manifest with such ease, while others keep trying, affirming, visualizing, and nothing happens? Perhaps you've felt that frustration, believing with all your heart, trying to think positively, only to see circumstances worsen. The reason is simple, yet profound. You're trying to use a spiritual law without understanding the kingdom code that activates it. Philippians 4:8 isn't just advice on what to think. It's an energetic command, a blueprint for divine vibration. When Paul wrote, "Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things," he was revealing the secret to mental alignment with God's perfect plan. It was as if he said, whatever you hold in your mind becomes the fertile ground where God plants his divine blessings. But there's a problem, and this is where many get lost. The human mind tends to gravitate towards the opposite of what it desires. It dwells on fear, lack, and scarcity, believing it's praying. But in reality, it's cultivating the contrary seed. And the Bible is clear: whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Your mind is the soil, your thought is the seed, and your emotion is the water that makes it grow. What no one tells you is that biblical manifestation doesn't happen by the simple act of asking, but by the synchronicity of thought with feeling. When Paul says, think about such things, he's referring to a vibrational state, a continuous consciousness. And this is where the law of attraction comes in, because it's simply the modern translation of an eternal spiritual principle, like attracts like. Emmet Fox understood this like few others. He said, life is what thought makes it, and that every image you hold in your mind is a silent prayer, shaping your reality, your divine destiny. But there's a point few mention. If you maintain thoughts of doubt, guilt, or fear, you are unconsciously asking for more of that. It's like trying to tune into a divine radio station while internal noise distorts the message. Now imagine if there were a way to clear that noise, to align your mind precisely with the frequency of Philippians 4:8. Imagine beginning to feel a silent peace flooding your heart, noticing signs changing, coincidences becoming clearer, doors opening where there were once walls. This is what happens when you grasp the true meaning of this powerful verse. It wasn't written merely to inspire, but to awaken an inner power that creates, manifests, and transforms. And before I show you the step that activates this power, I want to invite you to take a step of faith. Click the link in the first pinned comment. There you'll discover something that will expand your consciousness and help you apply this practically and securely every single day. It's not about reading more or believing more. It's about aligning what you think, feel, and declare in a way that your mind becomes a direct channel for divine manifestation. But be warned, what comes next could completely change how you view prayer, faith, and even the law of attraction. Because this verse, when profoundly understood, reveals that God doesn't just want to bless you, He wants to teach you to co-create with Him. And this revelation, which I'll show you later in this video, is what transforms asking into manifesting. So breathe deeply, forget everything you've been told about positive thinking. What you're about to discover is far more powerful than that. By the end of this video, you'll understand why so many talk about the law of attraction, but few actually live it. And when this spiritual key turns within you, nothing will ever be the same. If this message is already resonating with you, please hit the like button now. It helps carry this content to more people who need to awaken to this truth. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and activate the bell, because what comes next will unveil one of the greatest spiritual secrets hidden in the scriptures. Now, let's go deeper. Because within this verse lies a divine portal, and crossing it can be the difference between living by asking and finally receiving. When Paul wrote his letter to the Philippians, he wasn't just sharing spiritual advice, he was describing a divine mechanism, a formula for the conscious creation of reality. And that's precisely what makes Philippians 4:8 a forbidden verse for many, because it reveals the creative power that exists within every human being, something traditional religion hasn't always wanted people to fully grasp. After all, a man or woman who understands that their mind is the altar where God creates becomes spiritually free. And freedom is the greatest power that exists. The Apostle Paul understood that thought is the seed of experience. When he says, "Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, think about such things," he's telling us, focus your attention on what vibrates at the divine frequency, because what you feed with your attention grows, takes form, and manifests. This is the basic principle of the law of attraction, but it's also the essence of faith described in the Bible. The difference is that Emmet Fox, centuries later, translated this spiritual wisdom into practical language. He said, "The mind is the invisible mold where spiritual substance takes form." Now, imagine what happens when that mold is filled with fear, guilt, or repetitive thoughts about what you don't want. The spiritual substance, which is neutral, simply obeys, and the result is a cycle of frustration. It's like trying to plant flowers in poisoned soil. The intention is good, but the ground isn't prepared. Therefore, the first step of true divine manifestation is to purify your mental soil. Most people try to change their lives by changing external circumstances, but that's like trying to change your reflection in a mirror without changing your face. The Bible is clear, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." Proverbs 23:7. In other words, your external reality is an exact reflection of your emotional imagination. That's why Emmet Fox said that prayer isn't asking, it's thinking correctly. When you change the vibration of your thought, you change the energetic field that attracts experiences, and perhaps you've felt this firsthand. Maybe you've prayed with all your faith, but something inside you still doubted. Maybe you've made affirmations, visualized, yet nothing seemed to move. This doesn't mean the law didn't work. It means it responded to the dominant frequency of your mind, not the words you spoke. Manifestation doesn't hear the voice of the mouth. It responds to the voice of vibration. That's where Philippians 4:8 becomes the master key, because it teaches you to train your mind to vibrate at the Creator's frequency. When you think on what is true, noble, pure, and lovely, you are connecting with the field of divine abundance. And when you remain in that state, everything dissonant, fear, scarcity, limitation, simply dissolves. But there's a secret few understand. This transformation doesn't happen merely through conscious thought. It happens when feeling aligns with thought, when the heart confirms what the mind declares. That's why Emmet Fox said the most powerful prayer is one that awakens positive emotion, because emotion is the fuel that moves creative energy. Now think about this. If every thought is a seed and every emotion is the water that makes it grow, what have you been watering lately? How many times has fear led you to water scarcity, believing you were asking for prosperity? How many times has doubt caused you to hold on to the problem while saying you were praying for the solution? This is what Paul tries to teach us. He knew that the human mind can be God's greatest instrument or the greatest saboteur of its own blessing. Most people read the Bible merely as a book of stories, but it is, in fact, a manual for manifestation. Each verse is an energetic code that teaches how to align the inner man with the creative power of the Spirit. When you start to see the words with this perspective, everything changes. For example, when Jesus said, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move." He was revealing the same principle as Philippians 4:8, the power of the mind aligned with emotional faith. And this is where the great danger lies, because if your mind has the power to manifest blessings, it also has the power to manifest chaos. Creative energy doesn't distinguish between positive and negative. It merely reproduces the pattern you sustain. Therefore, using the law of attraction without understanding this verse is like driving a car without knowing how to brake. You can go far, but you might crash into your own creation. Many try to manifest money, love, success, but they don't purify their mental field. They ask for prosperity, but vibrate in lack. They ask for love, but feel unworthy. They ask for healing, but believe suffering is deserved. And as long as the heart and mind are divided, manifestation will become unstable. It's like trying to light a lamp with loose wires. The energy is there, but it doesn't flow. Emmet Fox taught something extraordinary about this. He said that the error is not to think something negative, but to remain in that thought. In other words, what shapes your life isn't what you think for an instant, but what you cultivate in silence. That's why Paul invites us to think about such things, not for morality, but for divine power. He knew that when the mind remains in goodness, evil loses its ground. And perhaps this is the most important point of all. To manifest isn't to attract something new. It's to remove what impedes the flow of what is already yours by divine right. God doesn't need to be convinced to bless you. He has already blessed you. The only thing that needs to change is your inner state, your perception. When you begin to think as God thinks, feel as God feels, and act based on that, the invisible becomes visible. Now, I want you to reflect. What would happen if, starting today, you decided to live Philippians 4:8? Not just read it, but embody every word. Imagine waking up and consciously choosing, "Today I will think on what is pure, noble, and lovely." Imagine if every one of your thoughts became a silent prayer, every emotion an open channel for divine grace. You would begin to perceive that life doesn't happen to you. It responds to you. And at this point, manifestation ceases to be an effort and becomes a natural state. When you are in harmony with good, good manifests. When you vibrate gratitude, opportunities arise. When you feel love, love approaches. It's not magic, it's law, the law of God, expressed in the vibration of consciousness. But there's something even deeper, and perhaps this is the revelation no one has told you. Philippians 4:8 isn't just about positive thinking, it's about thinking like Christ. It's an invitation to elevate the human mind to the divine mind. Emmet Fox called this the indwelling presence. He said that when you align with this presence, all disharmony dissolves. Because the mind of Christ is the mind of perfection, and where there is perfection, there is no lack. When you reach this state, there's no more struggle to manifest. There's only the natural expression of abundance. And perhaps, at this moment, something within you is awakening. A silent recognition that you always knew this, but needed to hear it in a new way. Perhaps now you realize that you never lacked power, you only lacked consciousness, and that consciousness is now rising as you hear these words. But before moving to the final revelation, I want you to do something simple. Click the link in the first pinned comment. There you'll find a practical path to apply all of this, a tool that helps you reprogram your mind to the right frequency so you not only understand the biblical law of attraction, but truly live it. Because you see, understanding is the first step, but living it is what transforms. And to live Philippians 4:8, you need to become what you think. This demands vigilance, faith, and surrender. It requires perceiving that every thought is a creative act and every emotion is a silent prayer. When you become conscious of this, you begin to mold reality like an artist molds clay, with intention, patience, and love. And what if I told you that the last detail of this verse reveals the secret that completes the entire manifestation process? That there's a word hidden at the end that changes everything. That's what we'll discuss next. Because without understanding this final part, you might attract, but you won't sustain what you manifest. And that's precisely what separates those who merely desire from those who truly transform. Now, breathe deeply. What comes next is the turning point, the final kingdom code that makes Philippians 4:8 the most powerful key in the Bible for manifesting God's will in your life. There's a profound reason why Philippians 4:8 concludes with the expression, think about such things. It's not just guidance, it's a divine call. Paul was saying, keep your mind focused on the good, not just for a few moments, but as a constant state of consciousness, because what you sustain internally becomes what you live externally. And here's the secret almost no one perceives. The verse isn't talking about simple positive thinking. It speaks of total immersion, of mentally inhabiting the world you desire to see manifested. And this is precisely where many err. People think it's enough to ask God and wait for Him to send something from outside, as if blessings would fall from heaven as isolated miracles. But God doesn't send, He awakens. Everything you seek already exists as a seed within you. And think about such things is the command to activate that divine seed. When your mind remains in tune with love, truth, righteousness, purity, and praise, the Spirit of God finds fertile ground to flourish. This is the revelation Emmet Fox understood with such clarity. The power to create is not external, it is within consciousness. He said, you don't change things by fighting what is. You change them by creating a new vision and holding it with faith. This is exactly what Paul meant. Don't fight the darkness, turn on the light. Don't combat fear, embrace the truth. Because when the light shines, shadows naturally disappear. And perhaps this is what God is telling you right now. Stop fighting lack. Stop trying to conquer fear. Just change your focus. Because everything you observe with intensity gains power. If you look at scarcity, it grows. If you look at love, it flourishes. And that's why the true practice of the law of attraction, in light of the Bible, is much more than just visualizing desires. It's cultivating the consciousness of good until good becomes your new normal, your divine inheritance. Philippians 4:8 is like a spiritual mirror. It reflects what is within you. If your interior is full of faith, the reflection will be miracles. If it's full of fear, the reflection will be blockages. The verse, therefore, doesn't just teach you what to think, it shows you who you are. Because you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And what you are is defined by the vibration you choose to sustain every single day. Now imagine what would happen if you lived a single day in full harmony with this verse. If every thought of yours were filtered by these words, is this true? Is it noble? Is it pure? Imagine the mental silence that would emerge, the lightness, the peace, and with it the natural flow of blessings. Because the truth is, God never withheld anything. It was we who created the mental noise that prevents the perception of the abundance that already exists. And when that noise quiets, the impossible happens. Things begin to align. People appear, opportunities arise, doors open where there were once walls, and you realize it wasn't luck. It was divine alignment. It was you, finally, vibrating at God's frequency. This is what Philippians 4:8 is about. Not about the power of the mind, but about the power of the Spirit expressing itself through a mind at peace. And perhaps now you understand why this verse is so powerful and why many avoid discussing it in depth, because it reveals that you are a co-creator with the Creator, that faith is not passive waiting, it is vibrational action. This is the final revelation. Philippians 4:8 doesn't just teach what to think, it teaches how to think as God thinks. It is the portal between the human and the divine. When you cross this portal, you cease to be a hostage to circumstances and become the master of your own vibration. And that's why true abundance doesn't come from outside. It is born the moment you decide to live the truth and not the fear. Now you understand, the forbidden verse isn't dangerous because it's hidden. It's dangerous because when understood, it liberates. And when a human being becomes truly free, they are no longer controlled by appearances, fear, or lack. They become a channel for the divine presence. And nothing is more powerful than that. And before you go, remember, if this message resonated with you, please leave your like. It helps spread this truth to more people who are ready to awaken. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now and activate the bell, because in upcoming messages, I will show you how to continue activating this creative consciousness in every area of your life. Because what you think, feel, and believe is exactly what you manifest, and the time to shift that frequency is now.